I am Niccolò Machiavelli, and I will reveal to you a timeless strategy, how to master the power of patience, how to stop forcing life, and how to wait until victory is inevitable. In a world where fools act too soon, the wise man builds silently, believes in himself, and strikes only when the outcome is already his. Patience, it is the most misunderstood weapon in all of history. The world tells you that patience is weakness. That waiting means you are wasting time. That silence means defeat. But listen carefully, the one who waits with discipline is not weak. He is dangerous. He is a predator conserving strength, while fools scatter their energy on every impulse. Look at the lion. It does not chase every shadow. It does not roar at every sound. It sits still, almost invisible. Hours may pass. The prey thinks it is safe. And then, when the moment is right, the lion strikes once, and everything is over. That is the essence of patience. To those who cannot see, it looks like nothing. To those who understand, it is pure power. Impatience reveals desperation. When a man forces what is not yet ready, he announces to the world that he cannot control himself. He exposes his hunger, his lack of discipline, and enemies smell this weakness instantly. A man who cannot wait is a man who can be manipulated. He becomes predictable, restless, and easy to provoke. But a man who waits, who restrains his hand until the right time, that man terrifies his rivals because they cannot read him, cannot exhaust him, cannot trap him in his own impulses. Think of rulers who collapsed because they rushed their moves. They could not endure silence. They launched attacks too soon, signed alliances too quickly, revealed plans before they were secured. Their names are forgotten because impatience buried them. Yet the rulers who mastered patience, who knew when to hold back and when to release. These are the names we remember in history. Patience, therefore, is not passive. It is the highest form of active control. Understand this truth: time itself is a battlefield. Most people waste it, burn it, throw it away in chaos. But the strategist uses time like a sword. Every second he waits with awareness is another wound inflicted upon those who rush blindly forward. He lets others tire themselves while he grows stronger in silence. He lets others believe they are winning, while in reality, they are only exhausting themselves for him. Consider the chess master. The novice rushes, moving pieces without calculation, desperate for an immediate victory. But the master, he watches. He sacrifices a pawn here, retreats a knight there. His opponent grows confident, believing the game is his. And then, with one strike, checkmate. The master never rushed. He never forced. He used patience as a weapon until the victory revealed itself. In life, the same principle applies. When you act too quickly, when you try to force results, you are not leading, you are begging. You are confessing that you cannot endure the slow process of power. But power is not built in a day. Power is accumulated layer by layer in silence, in waiting, in preparation that others do not see. The world belongs not to those who run the fastest, but to those who endure the longest. The fool believes speed is strength. The wise man knows that silence and time are the deadliest allies. Patience also hides your intentions. When you wait, people cannot measure you. They do not know when you will move, how you will act, or what you truly want. They grow anxious, nervous, and they make mistakes. Your patience makes them restless. Your stillness creates their chaos. They begin to underestimate you, to dismiss you, to believe you are harmless. And when they finally relax, thinking you have no strength, you reveal everything at once, and they cannot recover. The impatient man wants recognition now, validation now, results now. He exposes himself. He shows the world his desires, and once his desires are visible, he can be controlled like a puppet. The patient man, however, knows that silence protects him. He would rather be underestimated today and victorious tomorrow than praised today and defeated forever. That is why patience is not weakness. It is deception, it is strategy, it is the hidden blade that cuts deepest. Patience also demands faith in yourself. Only the man who believes in his own strength can endure waiting. The insecure one cannot wait. He needs the world to applaud him, to reassure him, to tell him he is winning. But the Machiavellian mind knows true victory does not need applause. True victory is silent until it becomes undeniable. When you hold your ground, when you endure without showing fear, when you believe that your preparation will one day bear fruit, your patience becomes a fortress that no enemy can breach. Ask yourself this: what is more terrifying? The man who attacks you immediately, or the man who watches you silently for months, never moving, never speaking, waiting for your guard to drop? It is always the one who waits, because he is not reacting, he is controlling. And when the strike comes, it will not be loud, it will not be desperate, it will be absolute. He who forces reality reveals his weakness to the world. A prince who cannot wait, who tries to bend time with desperation, exposes himself like a man drowning, thrashing wildly in the water. The stronger swimmer conserves his breath, moves with rhythm, and glides towards safety, but the desperate man, in his panic, drowns himself. This is the difference between control and collapse. When you force what is not ready, you betray your hunger. The world sees that you cannot endure. Enemies see the cracks in your armor. They know your desire owns you, and once they know your desire, they know how to destroy you. A man who cannot control himself is already half defeated, for he is ruled not by strategy, but by craving. To force reality is to shout your fear across the battlefield. And fear is a scent predators cannot resist. Think of the ruler who tries to secure loyalty too quickly. He demands obedience, he pushes his people with threats. He shows that he cannot inspire loyalty naturally, and so he tries to squeeze it out of them with force. What happens? They pretend to obey, but inside they plot. They bow with their heads, but their daggers sharpen in the shadows. The ruler forced reality, and in doing so, revealed that he was not strong enough to let it unfold naturally. Or consider the man who forces wealth. He takes shortcuts, betrays his allies, manipulates recklessly. He may gain riches for a moment, but he builds no foundation. He shows his hunger so openly that all men see he would sell anything, betray anyone just to taste gold. Can such a man ever be trusted? Can such a man ever hold true power? No, for he forced reality, and in forcing it, he destroyed the natural trust and respect that wealth and power require. The truth is this: strength is silent, hunger is loud. When you move with calmness, when you allow things to grow in their own season, you appear unshakable. People say, he must be strong, for he does not rush. He must be confident, for he can wait. But when you force events, when you knock on every door, beg for every opportunity, demand every outcome, you declare to the world that you do not believe in yourself. You confess that without rushing, you will lose. And that confession of weakness is fatal. Remember this: forcing reality never creates stability. It creates fragility. A structure built in haste may rise quickly, but it cannot endure. It collapses under its own weight because the foundation was not allowed to set. The same is true of men, of kingdoms, of alliances, of wealth, of influence. To force reality is to plant a seed and demand fruit the next morning. And what kind of fruit could that be, except rotten? The wise man knows that power must appear natural. When things seem to come to you without struggle, the world believes you were destined for them. They trust it, they accept it, they do not resist it. But when they see you forcing, pushing, clawing, when they see your thirst, they resist you, they sabotage you, they wish for your downfall. For men hate the one who appears too desperate to rise, but they willingly follow the one who appears to ascend with ease. Do you know why the river carves valleys and mountains over centuries? Because it does not force. It flows. It adapts. It finds the cracks in the stone, and slowly, with patience, it shapes the land itself. The stone resists, but resistance is useless against patience. Yet if the river rushed, if it tried to tear through the mountain in a single day, it would scatter into nothing. Power is the same. It does not demand, it shapes. And time is its greatest ally. The man who forces people to respect him will never be respected. The man who forces love will never be loved. The man who forces destiny will never rule it. Because all of these things must be drawn, not dragged. They must be attracted, not seized in desperation. Force reveals lack. Patience conceals power. And concealment is the essence of strategy. Look carefully at those who boast too loudly, who try too hard, who grasp at every chance. They believe they are strong because they act fast. But you must see the truth. They are exposing their weakness. They are confessing their emptiness. They are telling you that without rushing, without forcing, they will lose everything. And when you see this, you know you already have the advantage. This is why the prince never forces reality. He lets it bend toward him by waiting, by preparing, by controlling himself when others cannot. He knows that time unmasks the desperate. He knows that forcing creates enemies. He knows that silence creates power. And above all, he knows that when the fruit is ripe, it falls into his hands without struggle, while others tear at branches and are left with nothing. Teaming, it is the invisible hand that decides victory or defeat. Power does not belong to the strongest arm, nor to the loudest voice, but to the one who knows exactly when to act. A sword swung too early cuts only air. A word spoken too late loses its force. But when the strike comes at the perfect moment, it does not merely wound, it conquers. This is why timing is not a detail in strategy. It is the soul of power itself. Most men rush like children chasing shadows. They believe movement alone is progress, and they exhaust themselves without gaining anything. Others delay endlessly, paralyzed by fear, letting their moments slip through their fingers. Both types lose, because both ignore the law of timing. The impatient man burns his opportunities before they are ready, while the hesitant man allows his opportunities to rot. The true strategist is neither of these. He is patient enough to wait, but ruthless enough to act instantly when the moment appears. Consider the general on the battlefield. If he attacks too soon, while his soldiers are unprepared, he hands his enemy an easy victory. If he waits too long, his men lose courage, and his advantage dissolves. But if he studies the enemy, sees fatigue in their eyes, senses disorder in their ranks, then, at that exact moment, he unleashes his army. The enemy collapses, not because they were weak, but because they were struck at the perfect time. A battle won by timing is remembered forever, because it seems as though fate itself chose the victor. This law of timing is not limited to war. In politics, in wealth, in love, the same principle rules. A prince who reveals his ambition too early is crushed by rivals. A merchant who invests too late loses the treasure to sharper minds. A lover who declares his desire too soon makes himself cheap. Everything in life obeys timing. The soil must be ready before the seed is planted. The fruit must ripen before it is picked. Power is the same. To act without timing is to act without wisdom. There is also deception in timing. By delaying action, you allow others to believe you are passive, distracted, even weak. They lower their guard. They expose themselves, thinking you will never move. And then, without warning, you act. What seemed like hesitation was preparation. What seemed like weakness was camouflage. This is why men fear the one who is patient, for they never know when his silence will end. His timing becomes a shadow that haunts them. Observe nature, and you will see the truth of timing. The snake does not strike every moment. It waits until the prey is near enough, careless enough, blind enough. And then, with one sudden movement, the bite is delivered, and it is already too late. Timing gives the snake its dominance, though it is small. The hawk circles in the sky, waiting for the exact instant when the prey cannot escape. It does not waste energy. It waits for inevitability. The hawk does not rush. The hawk does not hesitate. The hawk acts only when success is certain. To master timing, you must master yourself, for impatience is the enemy of timing. If you cannot control your hunger, If you cannot silence the voice that demands everything now, you will always move too soon. And moving too soon is worse than not moving at all. The man who reveals his plan before the moment exposes himself to destruction. The man who speaks before the time is right destroys his own influence. The man who shows his hand too early in the game loses the game before it has truly begun. Timing is also about restraint. The greatest victories are those that appear effortless because they were delivered at the exact right moment. To outsiders, it looks like luck, but there is no luck in strategy. There is only preparation meeting timing. The man who studies the field, who watches his opponents exhaust themselves, who learns when to wait and when to strike. This man makes his victories look like destiny. But destiny is only timing mastered. Think of those who seized greatness not because they were the most talented, but because they acted at the precise moment when others were blind. They spoke the right words in the silence where others were afraid. They made the decisive move when everyone else hesitated. And history remembers them not for their strength, but for their timing. For strength without timing is wasted, but timing without strength becomes unstoppable. So understand this power is not about constant motion. It is about rhythm. A ruler must learn when to advance, when to hold, when to retreat, and when to strike with fury. He must learn that time itself is a weapon, that delay can be sharper than action, and that the right moment can do what armies cannot. A man who acts at the wrong time loses what he has built. But a man who acts at the right time does not just win, he wins without contest, because the world itself bows to him in that moment. In a world that trembles with uncertainty, the one who does not believe in himself is already lost. Storms rise, rumors spread, enemies whisper, allies betray, fortunes collapse. This is the nature of life. And yet, amid this chaos, there are men who remain unshaken. They stand like stone while others scatter like dust. What is their secret? It is not luck, nor protection, nor wealth. It is belief in themselves. Self-belief is the anchor that holds a man steady when the seas of the world try to drown him. You must understand this: the crowd is fickle. Today they cheer you, tomorrow they condemn you. Today they call you wise, tomorrow they call you a fool. If your confidence is built on their approval, then you are their slave, not your own master. For when their voices turn, you collapse with them. But if your confidence is rooted in yourself, if you know your own strength, your own path, your own worth, then no storm can drag you down. You may bend under pressure, but you will not break. Self-belief is not arrogance. The arrogant man shouts his strength because inside he doubts it. He forces others to acknowledge him because he cannot endure his own silence. But the man who truly believes in himself does not need to prove it. His calm presence is proof enough. He walks into a room, and though he speaks no word, men feel his weight. Why? Because his confidence is not borrowed from applause. It is carved into his very being. He knows who he is. He knows what he will become, and belief makes him unmovable. When chaos surrounds you, people look for stability. They look for someone who does not panic, who does not lose himself in fear. If you have no self-belief, you will join the frightened masses, and they will crush you in their desperation. But if you remain firm, if you trust your own ability, they will turn to you. Even your enemies, though they may hate you, will secretly admire that you do not shake as they do. They will wonder what power protects you, not realizing it is only your own conviction. Consider the man who doubts himself. Every word he speaks trembles with uncertainty. Every action he takes is clouded by hesitation. He asks others for permission before he moves. He seeks constant reassurance, and in seeking it, he loses authority. Such a man cannot command respect. He cannot lead. He cannot inspire. He cannot dominate. He is ruled by his own weakness. But the man of self-belief does not beg for guidance. He listens, but he decides. He weighs, but he acts. And even when he errs, he stands by his decision, for he knows he will correct his course and rise again. This is why self-belief is the anchor. Without it, you drift endlessly, at the mercy of every wave. With it, you plant yourself firmly, and the storms that destroy others become the winds that carry you forward. The world respects the man who trusts himself, even when they disagree with him, even when they hate him. Because deep inside, all men desire this quality. They long to be unshakable, but few achieve it. When you possess it, you hold a rare power, one that cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. You must also understand that self-belief makes patience possible. The insecure man cannot wait. He forces, he rushes, he reveals himself too soon, because he doubts that his time will come. But the man of conviction can wait as long as he must. He does not beg life to deliver opportunities. He knows they will come, because he knows he is prepared to seize them when they appear. His belief makes him calm in silence, deadly in action, and untouchable in defeat. Enemies will test you. They will spread lies, plant doubts, orchestrate failures just to see if you collapse. This is their only true weapon against you. If you lose faith in yourself, they win. They do not need to destroy you, you will destroy yourself. But if you endure, if you remain steadfast, if you continue forward while they whisper and laugh, their power fades. For gossip cannot sink a man who believes in his own truth. Rumors cannot chain a man who knows his own strength. Even when the world calls you mad, hold firm. History is filled with men who were mocked, ridiculed, condemned in their time, but who triumphed because they refused to doubt themselves. The crowd sees only the present moment. The man of conviction sees the larger design. And when his vision becomes reality, the same voices that mocked him bow in silence. This is why self-belief is not luxury. It is necessity. Without it, chaos devours you. With it, chaos obeys you. A ruler's greatest strength is not his armies, nor his wealth, nor even his allies. It is his ability to appear calm while storms rage around him. For the man who looks unshaken inspires fear, trust, and confusion all at once. His enemies wonder what he knows that they do not. His allies find comfort in his composure. The crowd, restless and uncertain, looks to him as if he alone commands the winds of fortune. Yet beneath this mask of calm, he prepares endlessly, sharpening his weapons in silence, building strength where no one can see it. Most men do the opposite. They reveal their panic. They show their wounds. When they are struck with misfortune, they cry out so that all may hear. When they face uncertainty, they ask for advice from everyone, scattering their dignity into the hands of others. And because they appear shaken, they invite the attack. Their enemies sense weakness, their allies lose faith, and the crowd abandons them. A ruler cannot afford such exposure. To remain powerful, you must train yourself to look calm even when chaos burns within. Think of the sea. On the surface it appears still, almost serene. Yet beneath, currents are moving, storms are forming, unseen creatures are rising and sinking. The surface deceives the eye, but the depth hides untold force. You must be like this. To those watching, unshakable, unmoved, calm. But within, always preparing, always calculating, always strengthening. This is how power matures. Hidden beneath the illusion of stillness. Silence is your shield. When you prepare in silence, no one knows your next move. They cannot sabotage what they cannot see. They cannot resist what they do not expect. Most men fail here. They speak of their plans before they are ready. They boast of victories before they are won. They seek recognition too soon, and by revealing their hand, they lose the game. Never forget, the louder a man declares his strength, the more fragile it usually is. The more quietly a man prepares, the more unstoppable he becomes. Consider the builder of empires. If he reveals his ambition too early, rivals unite against him. They sharpen their swords. They build alliances. They strike before his foundation is secure. But if he pretends calm, if he appears harmless, distracted, even uninterested, while secretly laying bricks in the shadows, his enemies sleep, and when they awaken, the empire is already standing, and it is too late to bring it down. This is why appearances are weapons. Calmness is not simply self-control, it is misdirection. It allows you to work in silence while others waste themselves in noise. A man who prepares in silence also grows in ways others cannot measure. They judge him by what they see, not knowing what he builds in secret. They believe he is idle, that he is falling behind, that he has no ambition, and so they dismiss him. But when the moment comes and he reveals his work, the shock is greater, the impact more devastating. His preparation, hidden for so long, explodes into reality like thunder after silence. The world is not only conquered, it is stunned. To appear calm, however, requires discipline. You must master your emotions. When provoked, you must not reveal your anger. When insulted, you must not reveal your pain. When uncertain, you must not reveal your fear. For the moment others see you lose control, they will use it against you. But if you remain calm, if you appear unmoved, they will exhaust themselves trying to penetrate your silence. They will throw their worst at you, only to see you standing as if nothing touched you. And eventually, their strength will break before yours does. Preparation in silence is also a test of faith in yourself. Only the man who trusts his strength can afford to wait in the shadows. The insecure one reveals too soon because he craves recognition. He fears being forgotten. But the true ruler knows that when his moment comes, recognition will be forced upon the world. He does not need to beg for it. He only needs to be ready when it arrives. His silence is not weakness, it is patience sharpened into steel. Look at the hunter. If he shouts in the forest, if he reveals his presence, the prey flees. He starves. But if he moves quietly, waiting, watching, invisible, the prey walks straight into his trap. His silence feeds him. His calmness makes the kill inevitable. Life is no different. Those who reveal too soon starve. Those who prepare quietly feast. So learn this: your calmness must be a mask, and your silence must be your workshop. Let others believe you do nothing while you do everything. Let them underestimate you, laugh at you, dismiss you. Their laughter will only make their defeat more bitter when your preparation finally emerges. For the man who appears calm but prepares in silence wields two powers at once: the power of deception and the power of surprise. The world is not a stage of fairness. It is a battlefield of perception, maneuvering, and dominance. And in this battlefield, there is one thing you must never surrender, no matter how fierce the storm around you becomes: your belief in yourself. For if you lose faith in yourself, you hand over the sharpest weapon your enemies could ever wield against you: your own doubt. Listen closely, because this is not about optimism or blind positivity. This is about strategy. Machiavelli understood that men are easily swayed, controlled, and dominated when they stop trusting their own judgment. Once you second-guess yourself, you become vulnerable to the whispers of others. You become clay in their hands, easily molded to their will. That is why self-belief is not just a matter of personal strength. It is a shield, a fortress, a layer of armor that keeps you from being bent or broken by those who would use your weakness against you. Consider how rulers rise and fall. A prince who doubts his own authority opens the door for ministers, advisors, and flatterers to control him. He becomes their puppet while imagining himself still a king. But a prince who is sure of himself, even when he makes mistakes, commands respect. His confidence becomes a weapon sharper than any sword, and even his enemies tread carefully because they sense the solidity of his will. That same law applies to you. Whether you lead armies or simply navigate the struggles of ordinary life, people sense your self-belief. If you radiate conviction, you create gravity, others orbit around you. If you project doubt, you become a satellite pulled endlessly by someone else's power. Belief in yourself is also your protection against one of the most dangerous traps: manipulation. The world is full of voices trying to shape your decisions. Friends who claim they know what's best for you, rivals who whisper poison in your ear, society itself, with its endless rules, trends, and judgments, constantly pressing you to conform. Without a strong belief in your own mind, you are nothing but a pawn moving according to their hand. And pawns, remember, are always sacrificed first. Let me give you a truth as cold as stone. No one actually knows what is best for you better than you. People advise you according to their interests. They counsel you according to their fears. They manipulate you according to what serves them, not you. So when you believe in yourself, you cut through the fog of these voices. You filter advice, not absorb it blindly. You measure every word against your own judgment, and in doing so, you remain the master of your own path. History gives us countless examples. Think of leaders who defied the judgment of their councils, who ignored the shouts of the crowd, who refused to bend when everyone else demanded surrender. Many of them were called arrogant, stubborn, reckless. But when the dust cleared, it was precisely their unshakable belief in their own vision that preserved their power. The same principle applies to the individual who refuses to let society dictate his worth. If you do not believe in yourself, you invite others to write your story for you. And when others write your story, it is never in your favor. But here is the deeper strategy. When you believe in yourself, others believe in you as well. Confidence is contagious. It seeps into the minds of those around you. Even when you falter, even when you stumble, people are more likely to forgive you, to follow you, to trust you, if you carry yourself with certainty. Doubt, on the other hand, infects like a disease. Show hesitation, and others will hesitate with you. Show uncertainty, and they will begin to question your worth. In the court of power, appearances often matter more than truth. And the appearance of belief, solid, unbreakable belief, is enough to shield you from suspicion, criticism, and attack. Now, understand this clearly: believing in yourself does not mean ignoring your flaws. It means mastering them. A ruler who pretends to be flawless is delusional. A man who hides from his weaknesses is already defeated. But the one who knows his limits, yet still trusts in his own strength, creates something far more powerful than perfection. He creates unshakable authority. Your enemies will attempt to exploit your flaws. But if you already acknowledge them and stand firm in spite of them, you rob them of that weapon. Think about this in your own life. How often have you doubted yourself because of failure? How often have you looked to others for permission before taking action? Each of these moments is an opening, an entry point for manipulation. But when you decide that your judgment is final, that your instincts are worth trusting, you begin to close those openings. You begin to build walls that no one can easily breach. This is why belief in yourself is not a luxury. It is a Machiavellian necessity. It transforms you from prey into predator, from pawn into strategist, from a man blown by the winds of opinion into a fortress unshaken by storms. People will always try to control you. They will try to feed you fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But if you guard your belief like a shield, you can walk through their traps untouched, immune to the poison of manipulation, untouchable to those who want to dictate your life for their gain. And so, we arrive at the end of this journey, where all the threads of strategy weave into one truth. Life is not conquered by force, but by patience, by calculation, and by unshakable belief in yourself. Machiavelli never taught that power belonged to the reckless, or to the impatient, or to those who begged the world to move faster. He taught that power belongs to those who wait for the right moment, who observe the field of battle with cold precision, and who strike when the time is perfect. You have learned that waiting is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. You have seen that forcing life only leads to resistance, that desperation exposes you to manipulation, and that true mastery comes when you allow time itself to work in your favor. You have discovered that patience is not passive, it is active strategy, a weapon sharper than steel. And above all, you have seen why belief in yourself is the foundation of it all. Without that belief, You are swayed, bent, and broken by the hands of others. With it, you become unshakable, unmovable, and untouchable. You become the author of your own fate, not a character in someone else's story. The world will always test you. It will tempt you to rush, to force, to doubt, to surrender. But if you remember these principles, if you carry them not as words but as weapons, then you will always stand above the chaos. You will not just survive, you will dominate. For he who waits with patience, believes with conviction, and moves with precision cannot be defeated. That is the Machiavellian way, not to live by chance, not to act from fear, but to master yourself so completely that the world itself bends to your strategy.